Hello everyone, welcome to a new live stream. So, let's see, one person watching. Yes, I hope other people will join in later. But yeah, that's fine. Is there some lag? There is again some lag between my face and the image, what I say and what you see. We'll try. Sometimes it fixes itself when I switch here, so let me see if I can just switch this. Oh cool, now I'm frozen. What's happening? Cool, I broke the picture. You probably cannot see me moving. I broke everything. Let me try to fix that. Don't know what happened. Okay. Let me... Okay, so I think you were not hearing me anymore. Maybe it was since I rebooted the software. Let me know if you don't hear me in the chat. I think now it's okay. Okay, so you probably missed what I was saying then. Yeah. So we are creating the page to show the reports to moderators. So I created the component. On the JavaScript side, I registered the root in my index.js file with the key of reports, and now I added a link that's called reports and show a link to that page. So I will refresh. So my link is here. So I can probably also add an icon. So I think we use the flag icon. So I will add that and I will register that translation. So nav and just reports. Now we have something called reports, and if I click, it goes to my hello world page. Okay, so that's the JavaScript side, and the backend side, it's just that now if I refresh, the backend does not know that this is a valid route, so we just need to go to extend.php, take the forum frontend extender, and just add route, and tell it that there is a route called reports, that just called reports. Like this, and now if I try to go directly to that page, it knows that it's here. I see there is an error. It says Flarum is not defined. So, oh no, that's something else. Let me just fix that. I have some code that I need to remove. Oh yeah. Yeah, I had some code in the footer. Okay. Now it should be better. So, okay, that error is gone. Okay, that's good. Hi, so I have no idea how to pronounce that. MHWO? What do you mean production? So this is a local forum. This one is only on my computer, but the extension will be published publicly. So it's already on GitHub. If you go to my GitHub, you can. Right now it does not do much, but I will push. What I do today will also be pushed there, and in a few weeks it will probably be ready to be installed in production. Yeah. But this forum is just my test forum, and it's only on my own computer. You can see it's localhost. Yes. So we will do a bit more on that page. So first we will use the container class, and that way the content is centered. Yep, that's better. And next we will create a table. I don't know if I will use a table in the end, but let's use a table for now. You can see I'm not using GSX, so there are two different ways of doing templates. You can use GSX or you can use Mitchell object templates. So myself, I use Mitchell templates with the M method, but you can also write it using pseudo HTML directly here. If you take a look at the source code of of all the Flarum extensions and most of the friends of Flarum extensions, you will see they don't use this, they use GSX. But myself, I prefer to use this because I find it more clear and often more compact. So yeah, so let's just create the table for now. So we will have a column. I will hard code everything for now, not use translation. So we will have user, then we will have reason, then we will have yeah, that's already most of the stuff. I will not write the full commands in there, so let's just do 3 columns for now. So that makes my table. And next we need to show the information. So last time we created a few controllers, but not all of them are implemented. So we did the create report controller. So that one still has multiple to-dos, but it was mostly done, or at least it was working for what we need for now. There is a delete controller that has not been implemented yet. There was a list controller that has a very simple implementation. We had a show controller that is not implemented, and we had update controller, which is not implemented either. So for now we need the list controller, and we can see, I think we registered them. Yes, so get/API/reports will use that controller. And that controller will just return everything without any pagination for now. So let's use that. So let's go back to the reports page. Now in init, we will do a request. So I don't remember if it was easier to use the find method. I wanted to maybe do it simpler so it's easier to understand, but it will give me more work later. So what I will do is use the same thing that Flarum uses. So let me show you what I mean. So Flarum uses additional classes when there is information. So if I look for discussion state, so for example, Flarum uses a discussion list state. So we will actually do the same. We will do a reports list state. That way it will be more flexible later. So this is part of separating data and templating. So I will actually copy the discussion list state from Flarum, and we will adapt it. So I create a new folder for my states. Inside of here we will do report, is it plural or no, it's singular, report list state, and export default class report list state. Okay, and next so basically discussions becomes reports. I don't like that the refactor feature of PHP Storm, because it always finds so many things. I never know. I will do it line by line, I prefer. So rename this reports. Now let's take a look. So we have request params. So this one, at first we don't need it because basically this we will not need. It's about showing the relevant posts. Next here we have the sorting stuff. So we will need some way to sort stuff. And here we also have some includes. The benefit of this method is that extension can override it. So we will keep it. I will just keep user because we will have a relationship named user. I don't know if that if that method will be particularly useful. Then we have sort. So sort, we will keep it as well. However, not all of these will exist, so there will be no relevance sorting. There will just be, for now, there will just be those two actually, newest and oldest. So we will just keep that. This, I guess we will keep it like that because that's how Flarum does it. Clear, we will keep it, we just rename the variable like we did above. Refresh params, this one might not be needed because it has everything to do with Flarum reusing the discussion list elsewhere, so we will remove that one, I think. Refresh, I think this one we need to keep. We just need to rename the variable. Load results, I think this one we will also need. I'm removing the comments because they are all outdated. They mention discussions and I don't want to keep wrong comments. So that's what I was looking for earlier. The way to actually make the request to get some records is with the App Store find method. So here we will just use reports and it will use the /API/reports endpoint automatically. So here we also have a preloaded code. That one we will keep because actually we will try to preload the information. We will just rename it to preloaded reports. Then load more we will keep. Right now there is no pagination, but we will add it. So yes, we keep it like that. Parse results, we just rename the variables. Yes, remove discussion. So now we also have some additional stuff. So this, the remove one, I don't think we need because I will not implement deleting records from the list. So this one we will not need. But this one we will not need either because new reports are not created by moderators. So we can remove that. This one we need to rename because it still says discussions. So let's rename it to has reports. Yeah, let's rename it. Okay, and now this also needs to be renamed to reports. And I think we are good. I will remove the last, but search results. Yeah, let's keep it for now because we will actually implement search, I think, later. So I think that's this discussion. I will remove the comments. Okay, so now we have the state. So this state class will be used to access the API. And now we can actually look how core uses that class. So reference, and we can see here there is for example, the discussion user page. Here we can see that the state is created with some parameters. We will not actually need those parameters right now. And then we call refresh, and this will load the initial results, and then the other stuff is done inside of this class. So if I go to discussion list in Flarum core, here we can see that some methods are used on the state. So we can see here there is state.isLoading, state.moreResults, state.loadMore, state.isSearchResults, and state.theInformation. So that's how it's used. So we will do something very similar. So now we can go back to the reports page. So now we will just do this.state equals new reports, if I can write, report list state, and then this.state.refresh. And now inside of here we can do this.state.reports. dot map. And now I can just have my template. I do a map, that way I can directly translate that to a template. And now I can show the reason with report.reason like this. And I think that's it. Does my model have... No, okay, so my model only had comment. So now we will add a few new things. So we will add reason. Actually, I think that's it. We don't need anything else for now. We will need the relationship. So we will need the user equals model.relationship and model.relationship user like this. Okay, and so we can actually already put the user here. We will use the user name helper. So this is a method from Flarum. So we can import username from Flarum helpers username, and username will take as parameter report.user. And if user is null, then username will automatically show the deleted text. Okay, so maybe now you will hear some noise in the background. I hope you can still hear me. So let's see what happens. Refresh. Yes, something went wrong. So, oh, okay, so that error, you can see here it says invalid parameter exception, invalid include user on the request. That's because I copied that code and there is an include for user. But this include is not whitelisted on my controller. So I will actually whitelist it. So list report controller, and here I will add include, and I will add include user. And I don't know if the user relationship is implemented on the serializer. Yes, it is. Okay, so it will work, or at least it should work. Let's try again, refresh the page. Okay, so there is still an error. Argument 1 passed to abstract serializer. Format date must be an instance of date time or null string given. Okay, so this is a problem in the serializer. I'm using format date and I pass created at, but it seems like created at is a string. So I think the reason is that if I go to my eloquent model, I need to say that it is a date. I think it might be, or is there just the dates? Yeah, I think that's it. So normally in Laravel, if you have dates created at, they will automatically be dates. But in Flarum, by default, dates are actually disabled. If I go here. No, that's not how dates works. Actually, I don't know, because Flarum disables the timestamps by default in the abstract model. I don't know why it removes the dates. Okay, so what we will do, instead we will use casting with the casts attribute. So we cast created, updated as timestamps. So now it should work. Okay, so there is still an error. Now we have int given instead of string given. So am I supposed to set date time here? Okay, so there is no longer any error, so that's a good thing. But we don't see anything either, so that's not reassuring. So let's try to find why we don't see anything. So if I go to network, you can see my request here. It's a 200, and I see there is some data here. So there are 21 or 22. Yeah, it's from 0. So there are 22 results from that request. So this means we should see something, but we don't see anything. So now maybe let's do some debugging, because refresh. So once the results are refreshed, it should automatically parse results, set loading to false, and redraw. So I don't know why we don't see them. Maybe we will show the loading spinner first, so that it's a bit more user-friendly. Oh yeah, we will use the same kind of logic as Flarum is using inside of the discussion list component. So I will actually copy that, go back to the reports page. So now inside of the view, we will have that loading variable that will contain some template. And so if something is loading, in that template we will put the loading indicator, which is a Flarum component that I will import from Flarum components. So in that variable we put that template, and otherwise if we have the has more result boolean, then loading will be a button. Again, it's a component that I can import from Flarum, and I will put it like this. So I will use a translation later. So for now I will just say load more, and when we click that we will trigger the load more method on the state object. And what do we do with that variable? We will show it at the bottom of the array actually. So let's do the format like this, and if we have something in the loading variable, then we will do an additional row with a single column and put the template inside of that column like this. And we will do a call span of 3 on that column. That way it takes all of the space at the bottom. Okay, that way we add it at the bottom, because so if it is the load more button, we want it at the bottom, and the loading stuff will also be visible. The first time we will not have anything on top when you load the page, but when you click load more, you will see the loading indicator at the bottom of the page. So now I'm always clicking on the bookmark by mistake. Okay, so we can see the spinner, and we can see that it disappears after a few seconds. So it still does not explain why we don't see any results. So yeah, let's continue to debug. So let's go back to the list state. Let's go to parse results and log. Let's log what's inside of reports to see if there is anything. Okay, so the bad news is that we don't see anything being logged. So it might mean that this is not being parsed. So let's go here, and so something I'm worried is that we might actually be reading the preloaded stuff. But it's still making a request. No, it's null. Okay, so this is not this. So load results. So what? So when we load the page, we first call refresh. It calls load results, and then it should call this code. So let's put a log here. The reason it's not working is probably something very stupid, as always. So there is still no log, so it's still compiling, so something is not running. So maybe it's not the correct class. Report list state, refresh. So refresh should be called at least. So okay, so that's called. So refresh is called. But this is not called load results. Okay, so it seems like load results never, the promise from load results never resolves. So maybe there is a but no, because this code should still run. Oh yeah, but it runs because we had, okay, so this code runs. So it runs up to here. Yes. So is there a problem with the store.find? Maybe the name of the... No, it's called reports, so it should work. App.store.find reports. What is happening? Oh, maybe it's parsing. Maybe the way I return the data from the API, it does not like, because there are no pagination. The class is ready for pagination, but the response from the API does not have the pagination stuff. So maybe that's the problem. We need to actually paginate the results already in the backend. Okay, so let's paginate the results in the backend. That way it's done. So again, we will copy from Flarum core. So let's take a look. Let's go to a file. We will go to list discussion controller. And here we can see there are some classes that are used by Flarum. There is the stuff here, add pagination links. So there is also the results class, but we will not use that for now. Oh, and that's beta 16 code. So let's just check beta 15 for now. So I think we will not use that stuff. We will not use a searcher for now because we will implement that later. However, we need to do that stuff. Add pagination links. To add pagination links, we need the URL variable here. We need the URL generator. So we will actually copy this. Resolve the URL generator and put it inside of a variable. Like this, import from Flarum. Okay, so now we have the URL generator. Here we need access to the name of the root. So the name of the root is, from here, it's Clark reports index. Like this. This we can leave. Offset, we need access to the offset. So we can actually take that from here. Limit and offset. Oh, we will also need some other stuff, but let's try to do as simple as possible for now. And now the last thing is that we just need no, we need to apply we need to apply the limit. So what I will actually do, I think I will I think there is a class that can be used. No. Discussion searcher. Oh, but everything changed in, I think it's still, is it beta 15? Oh, okay. Don't know if I should reuse the trait or I think I will apply it manually. So what is inside of this trait? It's apply sort. Oh, but we need a search object, so yeah, we will not use that. At least not for now. I don't want to implement the search right now because it changes in beta 16. So, and I don't need it immediately, so we will not implement it right now. So here we need so we will still copy this stuff. So let's do this. So let's do it like this: offset limit. Oh no, but this needs to be at the bottom. So this needs to be called reports. Next reports needs to be returned here. Next, this is just a variable. Why is there a null? Okay. Let's try to have this working. And query will just be report query. We start a new query. Then we apply the offset. Then we apply the limit. Then we take the information here. But there is a problem. The limit is missing one. The code is split across too many places. Yeah, so limit. Oh, but then it will always happen. Yeah, so I can actually remove that test. So we take, so this code is copied from Flarum, but basically to know if there are more results, we actually read one more result based, if we ask for 20 results, we actually get 21. And if there are 21s, then we say that there are more results, but we don't return the 21st result. So that's all copied from Flarum, and we will also need to do the sorting at some point, but I think it's good enough for now. So let's just refresh. Let's see if it fixes the problem we had earlier. It doesn't. Fantastic. So reports. So now we can see there is the links. There is the links attribute to navigate. Okay, but it's still not working. So what is going to happen now? So I'm surprised there is no error. So if I go back to my state object, so the problem seems to be that after load results is called in here, so refresh calls load results, and then something should happen here or something should happen here. So this is on success and this is on error. So let's see. Oh, okay, so there is an error. Okay, good. So it's a bit odd to not actually throw the error. So what is the error? There is no error object. I just do it like this. Oh, That would have been nice if that error was actually visible from the start. So it tells me that the relationship function does not exist. And the relationship function is what we called inside of the model. Is it just relation? Oh no, it has one. Oh, that would have been nice if the error was actually written on the page. Oh, now that's looking better. Okay, okay. So, we are making some progress. So it still does not look like much, but yeah, now we see the name of who created the report and we see the reason. Everything is very compact, but we will do the styling later. So that's good. I actually wanted a link to the user, so I never remember the name of the functions. So I used the username helper, but there is something else in Flarum. How is it called? Helpers. So because there is avatar, there is username. No, I think I might need everything. So if I go to the post user, I think there is a component called like that. Or maybe it's just user post. No? Has it been removed? So if I go to comment post on the JavaScript, here there are the header items, and here there is a user. There is a thing called post user. So, and in post user, here we have the avatar plus username, and so that's the one I was looking for. And here there is a link. I think I will copy all of this. Yeah. And I will put this inside of my column. So here I will remove that, put this. So again, I will use Mitchell templating because I prefer it. Like this. Okay, bear with me while I fix the look of this code. So something like this, and link must be imported from Flarum. Oh, but I also need to import the other helpers. So import avatar and import user online. I guess user online we don't really need, so let's not import user online. Okay, and user, I will call the relationship each time. Like this. Can also import app. Don't hesitate if you have any question about this or something else. I gladly answer any comment. I hope you are able to follow what I'm doing. So what I just changed was to have actually the link to the user. And it's not a very good example because right now admin did everything, but if I tried, so if I went to private navigation, I can log in with another user. So just so you can see what happens if someone else reports something. So I will go report post as off topic here and just submit. Apparently I need my command. Okay, and if I refresh now the list, we don't see anything. Cool. Okay. Let me go back to the database. So yeah, oh, sorry. So here we have an off-topic report with number 2, but we don't see it on the list. I guess that's because we went past 20, and 20 is the default number of results. But so now, so it would seem that the load more button is not working if we don't see. So let's log the more result stuff. So it's always false. So maybe there is a problem with the logic that checks for more results. So let's check the network to see what is written from the API. So here we can see there is no link to the next page. That's probably the problem. And it goes to 20. There is something that's not right here. So there is a problem with my pagination. It's not working. So if there is an offset, we skip the offset. Then we take the limit. We add 1. How does that work? It would have been better maybe to copy everything. So don't need all of that. I guess I just need but I need to take this. No, so I need to take limit plus 1, but keep limit here like this, and then here I can check if it is bigger than limit, then it means there are more results. Let's try that. Okay, so there is an error. State is not defined. So here it needs to be this.state. Okay, so now we see the load more, and when we load more, we can see my most recent submission. Okay, so that's good. What I can do here is maybe delete everything that does not even have anything. Like, yeah, I will delete those ones. Delete, yes. Okay, so now we have a bit less to handle. Okay. Now let's add. I don't exactly know how I will do this. I need a button. Oh, maybe no. I want a page for each report because, or maybe I just want to open them here. I will not create a new page for now. I will just keep this. My problem, I don't know how I want the design to look like, because I want to have some kind of something that opens, that you can expand one, and then you see the commands. But I'm not really sure how to do that. Graphically, I mean. I don't know. I guess I will put everything in columns for now, and I'll come up with a good design outside of the stream. So let's add a new column for the comment. And add a new column for actions. Status. Yeah, let's do it like this. Next, we can actually show the comment as a column. And in the last column, we will put some buttons. And so the buttons will be, so one will be called resolve. And another one will be called delete. Like this. And next, so the one called delete will actually call report.delete. And once that's done, it will refresh the page. So this.state.refresh. And I think here I can pass, no, it's okay. So I can do this, clear and refresh. And the resolve one will actually do report.save. And it will do save resolved true. Maybe let's do something like this. I will rename a lot of stuff outside of the stream, I think. But just so you can see the general workings. So with this, okay, so now we see the buttons and like that. So if I try to delete right now, there will be an error because the controller is not implemented. So we will implement it. So delete report controller implements delete abstract delete controller, implement what? Implement the method stubs. Here we will need to obtain, so report equals report query find or fail request get not get query params, and here we need to get the ID from the query params like this. Next report delete, and here we need also a to-do permissions, because right now anyone can delete anything. But if I just do this and try again, yeah, you can see it refreshed and it's gone when it's refreshed. So it disappears from the database immediately when I do this. And the other thing we want to implement is the resolve function. So the resolve function will actually be part of the update controller. And inside of here, we will need the same logic to access the report. And next, we will check the data. So we take the attributes. The attributes will come from request body, parsed body, and everything we pass when saving will be inside of data.attributes. So we store that here, and then if there is the array_get attribute, so we will actually use if exists array_get attributes, and we check for resolved. So if that attribute is in there, then we will check if it's true or false. So let's copy that. We get the value, if it's truthy, then we will do report resolved maybe I should just use some type hint so that PHP Storm knows what's going on. So resolved at becomes now, and report resolved user ID becomes request get attribute actor ID. And this is all very bad code right now, because since there are no permissions, a guest could theoretically do this and there will be an error here if it's a guest, because a guest has no ID. But later there will be permissions, so that's all right. And if resolved is false, then we actually want to unresolve the case, and then we will just do it like this. And for now there is nothing else in this, so we'll just save here and return the report. And here we need to specify the serializer as well, so the serializer is report serializer. Okay, so this class handles the update, and we use that just to mark it as resolved or actually unresolved. So the resolved, we also need to put it here, so resolved at, and we will need a relationship for who resolved it, so how will I call that relationship? So let's call it resolved user, I guess. Resolved user ID, I think something like this. And next I can just call this resolved user everywhere. Guess I will do it like this. Resolved user. And yeah, I think we can do it like this. That should be fine. Next I will include the resolved user in the list. I will include resolved user. Actually, I need to include it inside of the update controller as well. We will include both. That way, when it changes, I get the new value updated. And I think that's good for the backend. Now in the front end, so actually I need some additional logic in here. So I will use an anonymous function to return this, and now I can do additional variables. So I will take the opportunity to put user inside of a variable. Next I will do one for resolved user as well. I also need to put resolved user inside of the JavaScript model, like this. Next I also need to add here, so resolved at, which will be model.attribute resolved at. And here there is a way to say that it is a date. I never remember how, so we will just take a look in Flarum core how it's done. So yeah, model.transform date. So we'll use that like this, and I also need created at. Like this. Okay. I think that's okay. Now, what else? So I wanted a variable to say if it is resolved, and resolved will be the Boolean cast of report.resolved at. And yeah, actually, because here I will do the inverse, and we'll do it like this, so that I can switch between resolved and unresolved. So, oh, my avatars are gone. What happened to my avatars? User, user, user. What? Why did it change? Oh, but there is still the post-user avatar class. I will maybe remove that just to be sure there is no conflict. Okay, I'll do the styling another time. So now if I do resolve, let's see what happens. So there was a request made to /report/16. Didn't want to open it. And so we can see in the request there was resolved true and response. Okay, so it looks like it worked because we can see there is a resolved at date. There is just nothing changed here. But that's not too... no, there is no need to worry. This is probably just because there is no redraw. So if I do a redraw, it should redraw with the new information because that request automatically returns the new model. The new model is automatically synced to the store. So it should actually work. Yes, and now if I do, yeah. Now we can see the button stays like it was. And now we can actually use this information here. So if it is resolved, we can show how will I do this? So I will use the human time helper. So import this from core, and then I will show the user like this. User, and here it will be resolved user. And yes, and we will actually do the same kind of stuff here to show the human time of the creation time. So human time report.created at. Okay, so that code is quite messy, but it's all about getting there, and then we can make it prettier. So we can see, so here we have the time. We have the time the report was created, then we have the user who created the report, then we have the reason, then we have the comment, and then the status. If we resolve some of them, we see who resolved it, and and there is an error when we refresh. So what's wrong? Slug is not a function. Cool. how does that work? Because I guess the problem is that calling link with a missing user is not actually possible. But what happens in the post? I guess there is, oh, okay, that's why there is a special logic just here. Okay, so I guess I will use a new function, human, no, not human link, like user. I will just create a function user link that will take care of deciding what to do. So if there is no user, then let's do it like this, and what? So if there is no user, we will just return a span without a link. And if there is a user, we will return the link with everything. Okay, so let's try like this. So, and then we can do user link. And actually we don't need the variable anymore since it's only used in one place. So we will use user link, and where is it? Here. What am I doing? There is a TD. What? Okay, so let's see if it fixes the problem. Okay, but now it's not showing up. Resolved user? Is it not working? Resolved. Let's check in the database. Okay, so resolved user is set, so it should exist. Next we can check the network. You can see if the relationship is set. So here we have the first one. Okay, so there is a problem here. The relationship for resolved user is not loaded. Actually, it might just be because it's missing from my state. I need to put it here. Or maybe I should not add the include by default. Let's keep it for now. Okay, that's better. So, hi Christian. Yeah. So it's starting to kind of look like something. It's still very bad for user experience, but we are talking about the basics here. So, yeah. That's kind of nice. So the long-term idea here is to have some kind of, there will be some tabs and everything that's resolved will be in another tab. Like this is not very practical the way it is right now. Yeah, so what we will do now, I think, I hope you did not just join Christian. We will do a short break, and next we will discuss how to make this work with multiple kind of models. We will not go into the layout today. I'll see when I do that. Yeah, so we do 5 minutes break, and I come back for maybe half an hour to 1 more hour. We will see how long it takes to do that. So yeah, I will be back shortly. We are back. So let's continue. We will leave the graphical interface on the side for now and just take care of working on how to make it extendable, because the idea from the start here is to not be only for posts, unlike Flarum flags, but it needs to work with a wide range of things. I want to make it work here just with posts and users for now, but the idea is to make an API so that other extensions can register their types, because I will be using that on a forum where I want people to report error on pages, because there will be a lot of pages with content, and there will also be other records that they need to be able to report. So it needs to be extendable. And so the way it will work is basically, it's all around the type and ID. So type, oh, by the way, I see there is a discussion here. I don't know if I created it manually or changed it. So there will be posts, there will be users, and then there will be other custom values. And subject ID is a string actually. So last time we made the migrations, type and ID are strings. So ID does not have to be a number, it can be something else. But for the two that we do today, it will be an ID, a numerical ID. So I will just go back to the chat in case you want to say something. Yeah, now I have it visible again on my second screen. Okay, so I will show you my ID for the API. So basically we will create an extender. So most of the time extenders are used, we use extenders to extend Flarum, but actually extenders is the extender interface is a public interface, so you can have your own extenders. So I will actually create that just so you can know what it looks like. So I create a new extend namespace and I will call my extender, let's call it report type, and I will do implement extender interface and implement the stub. So basically an extender is just an object with an extend function, and the extend function will take the container and a reference to the extension object. It's very much like a service provider, but the idea is that you can actually use them, and when you see how it works in Flarum, you see sometimes there is a parameter to the constructor, and then there are methods, but you don't see extend, because actually these methods, for example here the front-end extender, when you call GS, it just sets a variable on the extender and returns the extender. And then below there is the extend function, and when Flarum calls the extend function, there is some code here that will look at the variable that were set on the extender and do some stuff. So we will do the same thing. So our extender, we will actually, in the constructor, we will take the type as a parameter. So, and we will set it something like this. So when you use that extender, you need to pass a type, which will be a string. And then what I want to do is to have a way to validate the ID. So how do I do this? So here it will be, yeah, it will be very simple, because then it will be a callback. But I will explain as I do it. So my idea here is to have validate ID, and it will actually be a callable function. Actually, what I can do is to have, I can just do it like this, and then something like this. Then this validate ID equals callback. So these functions are very simple because they just store what we give them, and here I can return this. That way we can chain extenders. And next, here is actually the logic that we will need. So for each report type, we will need to store them somewhere. And so we have different ways to do that. I think we will put that somewhere in the container. Now I could use an object for that, or I could just use some kind of array. So how do I do? So I will check if there is something bound that is called report types. And if there isn't, I will register a singleton called report types that will just be an array. And then we will have, we will use extend on the container so that when report types is resolved from the container, then we will run some code. And what will happen here? So when this code runs, we will add a new key, which will be type. And then here we will add something like this, validate ID. And then here we will use container util wrap callback. I will explain what this mess does. So what? Okay, I don't know. The error message did not have the correct name for the arguments. Okay, and then return types. Okay, so basically we want to have an array where the key is the type, and in the values we have different things. Right now there will only be the validate ID function, and the callback here is actually wrapped using this function, which allows the use, instead of passing an anonymous function, you can actually pass an invocable class, and then Flarum will automatically resolve that class when using this. This means when the function is called, only then will it be resolved. It will not be resolved immediately. Okay, so I think that's all we actually need. So now let's see how it would look like. So this extender would be used by ourselves and other extensions. So now if I do my thing, so the idea is to use something like this, new, but now we have a conflict. That's why I don't like naming my namespace extend, because then it conflicts with this extend. So actually I prefer to name it extenders. That way I don't need to add an additional import here, extenders, and I can just use report type. So here we will register posts, and we will register a validate ID, and we have not said what will be passed here. So actually you will get the ID, and you will get the actor, I think. We will do something like this. And here you are supposed to say if that user is able to report that ID. Can you hear me all right? I didn't see any new message. Yeah, the sound seems to still be working. I lost the correct window. Okay, so here's the logic. Actually, it will be even better if I use an anonymous class. Let's do that. So let's just do validate post ID, and next we will do validate user ID. So the reason I want to make a class and not just an anonymous function is because, so let me show you. So I will copy this actually. So I can even use string, I guess, something like this. So validate post ID. So what I will do is actually in the constructor, I can resolve stuff. So I will resolve the post repository because I will need that to know if the user can see a post. And now here I can use these posts, and then I can do find. And actually, I think I can just use that. I can just use find or fail. And here I can take the ID and the actor. But here I just want to return a boolean, not an error. So I will do a try catch model not found exception, and then here we will return true. And here false. Because I think find or fail. Find by IDs. No, I think that's all right. We can use that solution. So we pass an ID, an actor, and it will return true or false if you can report it or not. And then we do the same for validate user. So here we will use the user repository and do something very similar. User, users. But now users, yeah, there is the same yeah, there is the same method. So we can just use the same method. Yeah. Yep, exact same code. Yep, like this. And now we can just register that using here. We can just say validate post ID. We can just pass the class, and Flarum will take care of resolving everything. And next, we can do the same for users. And validate user ID. Like this. And now, now we need to use that information that we put in the container. So we will refactor the create report controller. So now, instead of accepting any subject type, so how? Oh yeah, here we had. Oh, we had some kind of validation, but actually those two validations we need to replace them with the new stuff. So so type, we will extract type from the request. Next, we will how should I do this? So for now we will obtain it using app report types. So let's do it like this. Available types equals report types. Then if there is no key for if the type that was given is not registered, then we will throw a validation exception like this. So we will need a lot of translation and stuff later, but I'm putting all that on the side for now because nothing is final. So so I will do it like this, unknown report type if it does not exist. So next, if it exists, we will run, we will obtain the available types type, and how should I do that? Something like this. Dot validate ID. And if a validate ID function was registered, we will call it, and we will call it with so let's put the ID inside of a variable that we cast to string. Next we call this with ID and the actor. And if it does not validate, so we can actually just do it like this. If there is a validate ID function and it does not validate, then we will throw a validation exception. Cannot create a report for ID. Like this. And now this means we can remove this. And here we can just use, the variable that we created, type and ID. And another thing that we need to do is the reasons. So this we can move. And actually now we need to use the type, because reasons we have them by type. So we need to actually get the reasons for that particular type. Yeah, like this. So if we test now, it should still work like before. Let's try it. So let's prepare for the worst. So this should still work. Now we go back to the reporting part. So if I try to submit, okay, something went wrong. Reflection exception class array does not exist. What? Okay, so maybe I think my problem is with the extender. The problem is with this. I don't know if I should use instance, maybe. I will try to use instance. Let's try that again. Okay, so now we have required. So let's input some stuff. So it seems to work. Seems to work all right. Now let's try to modify the stuff. So if I use reports, if I change the type, it seems to have worked. That was not the plan. So what did I change? Oh no, I changed the model type, I think. I need to change the subject type. So if I try to say for posts 2, I have unknown report type post 2. Okay. And now if I try to submit as a guest again, or maybe, do I still have my other window open? Yes. So my user here, is there a post that they cannot see? Actually, I just need to delete a post. So let's try that. So if I go in a big discussion, let's do it like this. So if I go to the end of this discussion, so here we can see the Arthur 89 discussion. So now the admin will delete that post. Okay, so now if I refreshed, the user is not able to see that post anymore. So I will try to report it. Cannot create report for post 552. But if I restore it, then it works. Restore. Now I can report it because I can see it again. So that seems to work. Now we can even add the link to the user. So now, in addition to post controls, we will use user controls. Like this, user controls. How is it called? User controls. Okay, there is a thing called user controls inside of user controls. So that's all right. Here we have flag, but now here we will open the modal with type users, and ID will be, how do we access the user? What? Why is the user not read here? Don't think it's a problem because it's always passed as an attribute here. So I can actually read the user. Where? I'm lost again. Okay. So here we can also, just like we read the post, here we read the user, we read the user ID, and yeah, maybe in the modal we need to change it so that the reasons. Now here we need to take. For now, let's just keep it like it is. Just see if we can report a user, but there will be an error because the reasons do not match. So let's go to profile, try to report. Oh, it still says report post, but we are actually reporting a user. Selected reason is invalid because the reasons, there are only reasons for posts right now. So that's where we get some more complicated stuff, because here now I need to take into account the type. That's like I need to put the first letter in uppercase and I never know how. So JavaScript first letter uppercase. Oh, there's not even a Stack Overflow result here. Everything. Oh no, it's not. Yeah, that's what I need. So let's just do it like this. String, like this. If I want to keep them named like that, but I could name them something else. Yeah, but let's keep it like this for now. So now it takes the reasons based on the type. So now there should be no options anymore. Yeah, but then we cannot submit because we made the reason required. And if now I wanted to fix my admin so that I can configure more reasons, where is it? Here, I need a way to have settings for each type. So to do that, we need to expose the list of types to the admin. Or maybe we can start with here it would be best if it was dynamic, but for now it will not be dynamic. Here, I don't like that settings extender very much because like now I have a case where I want to make a loop and add a setting for each of the types. I cannot use the settings extender. I need to use the serializer extender. So for now I will hard code this, but I will add a to-do. Something like this. We need a loop because that's not a good way to ask everyone to expose that. Now I need to be able to access the list of types in the admin. So to do that, so here I don't think we have serialized to admin. So we need to, I don't even know. I never remember how to do it. So I need to find an extension that does it. I think upload is a good example of an extension that has to expose information to the admin. So let's go to the upload extension source code and take a look. So let's start with extend. So Flarum serializer, deserialize. Oh, it's using a listener here. You can see here is this is probably what I'm looking for. So but this one is modifying settings. So that's one way of doing it. I think there was a way to add it to data. But I don't remember how. I guess I will just use this and I'll change later because I don't want to lose too much time on this. So let's create a new listeners namespace, add admin options. Next I will copy, I don't need that much stuff, I just need deserializing. And here we will just add reports.types. And this will just be the value of array keys of app report types. And that's all we need. Next we can register this listener using the extend event. And then we can listen to deserializing and we can call the listeners adoptions in admin class. So now when I do that, question becomes how do we read that value? So if I refresh here, so there is app dot, is it settings or app dot, it must be inside of app dot data. And here we have settings. So I guess it's somewhere here. It's here, reports.types. Don't know if I can just put it event. Oh yeah, it's not. I don't like that very much. We should be able to add directly to data. Let's take a look how core does it. So for example, how does core add this? Oh yeah, it's part of the admin payload. Yes. So how do we extend the admin payload? Yeah, it's just, yeah, well, yeah, we can add it there. So let's drop this. There is a better solution. So we can actually go to admin, add a new content extender. It will be just a function. It will take the document. And in document, we can add to payload and we can do it here. So I think we can do it like this. Report. Let's just call it report types. Let's call it the same. So let's check if it works. So if I do app.data, now do we have reports? Report types. It's directly here. So it's a lot better, I think. We don't need that event. We don't need that listener. Okay, so now we have access to the report types in the admin. And now what I can do is change my admin code. And here, so I think I will put my extension inside of here. And then I can actually do app.data.reportTypes.forEach. And here I can do it like this. I can do an anonymous function. Then I can call register setting for each one of them. Close the for each. And then I can use the type inside of here. So then I can just do like this, type reasons, and I think we need I will actually create a variable because I think we need it below. So put settings key inside of here, and then every time we save it, actually I could just search and replace this stuff. So replace all. Okay, and now we will just, we need some kind of title, no? Where is reasons written? Is it this? So here we need some kind, we need a better way, but I will just concatenate type to this. So now we can see what it looks like. So now we have reasons post and reasons users, and we can add here, so so here we could have one called spammer, for example, and don't know, for example, we could have advertisement in bio, for example, something you might want to report. Okay, and now if I go back to the front end, let's take a look if it works. So it means that if I report a user, I get the options for users, and if I go to report a post, that's not what I wanted. If I go to report a post, then I have the other reasons for posts. So yeah, that's it. I will not push the code immediately because it's a bit of a mess. I'll clean up all of that and I'll try to push it next week on GitHub. So if we recap what is left to do, so this needs to be cleaned up a bit, but it's mostly all right. There needs to be a way to reorder the reasons here. This is something that's missing for now. On the front end, I need to change the labels because right now when you report a user, it still says report post. So that needs to change. I want to implement the way to have other, and the way it works, I want that if you select one of these, if you select one of the reasons, you don't need to put a reason, don't need to put a comment, but if you select other, then it is required to put a comment. Right now it's required in any case. If I don't put a comment, it does not work. Yep, and most of the work is probably to finish that page. So I want a tab for new reports. I want a tab for resolved reports. And here I want some kind of way to expand the report to see the comment in full if it is a long text, because right now you can actually see so right now the problem is that, like, if someone makes a long report, my interface is completely broken. Let's report a post here, and if I say blah 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 something oh no, we put a limit. So you cannot go too crazy. Maybe you need to be able to put more than 255. It's not enough. 255 is not enough. No, how long is that? So here we have it's not telling how many characters. So how do we do a text file here? Text file, plain text. Okay. So how many is that? 1,300. And just one of them. It's still 289. Wow. So just wanted to show you how broken it is, but actually it's kind of so. Okay, so now we are below. So if I do a report, yeah, it's not that long if I do it like this. But if I take a look, that's not going to work if it looks like that. So this needs to be truncated, and then we need to be able to show the full message. And then I also want to implement the user, the moderator nodes somehow. It should be so private nodes for the moderators. And yeah, that's basically it. Oh, there is something else we didn't do now, and we need to do another time. Is here there needs to be a way to know which report is for which type of information. So I don't know if I want to make tabs, maybe one tab for post reports, one tab for user reports. I don't know if I want to do it like that, or maybe I will add a new column and tell what kind of record it is that was reported, because here you need a way to go and see the post, for example. Or the user, if someone reports a user, right now you cannot know who was, you know who created the report, but you don't know who was reported. So this needs to be added to this page. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this stream. I hope it was not too fast. It's still far from finished, but I will finish that at some point. It will probably not be next week's live stream. So now the thing is, we have So we have three, I think I will continue every Sunday, unless you have other suggestions for other days or if it does not work for you. We have 3 more weeks until April. So I think next week or the week after we will work on the April Fool's extension. So there will be spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled, just you will need to wait to watch the streams. But I will live stream the creation of the April Fool's extension from this year. So in case you don't know, I kind of started my own tradition. Every year let's just switch back to the camera. Yeah. Every year I create an extension for the 1st of April, and basically that extension, the motto is create a useless extension, and ideally a fun but useless extension. So I've made one every year. So first one was Comic Sans, then yeah, there were I made 4 already, I think, since I started working with Flarum. The biggest ever was the Catch the Fish extension, but I will not do that again because Catch the Fish, I think, is like 20 hours of development. I don't have the time to do that again, and not on stream. Last year was the Post Style extension that I think nobody used. But yeah, so I have a few IDs. If you have other IDs for April Fool's extension, you can write them in the comments, or maybe don't write them on the forum so not to spoil people, or you can just send me private messages if you have IDs. But I have a few IDs and I'll select one and we'll work on that extension. But I will probably do maybe 2 weeks on that, and if it needs more work, I will do that outside of the stream. So yeah, and then it will be discreetly published on April 1st on the forum. Yeah. So thanks for watching. I hope it was useful. And yeah, I will see you next week probably. Bye.